tip number 4. I'm Danielle Wingate.
I'm Chris Wingate.
And I still have the turtleneck on if you watched tip number 3, and it's going to be fine. At least we have neutral colors. Hey, so we are talking today about
what are we talking about?
No games, be honest.
NGBH.
It's good. That was quick. I was like, oh, okay. So no games, be honest. And I feel like this is probably more for the ladies than it is for the men. But ladies, we have a tendency to want them to read our minds. I think sometimes we have a tendency to desire them to know what we even need before we verbalize it or act out. And then because they don't know, regardless of how long they've been with us, we punish them. And so it starts this spiral, and it is not helpful. And so if you are wanting to build a marriage that you love, this has got to be a boundary that you set for you. I set it for me. No games, be honest. And I cannot encourage you enough. When your husband or your fiance, whatever, asks you, what's wrong? I just want to tell you, you have an opportunity to take a deep breath and respond in love with calmness. But there's nothing better than being honest, because then they have the opportunity to meet you in that moment. And you cannot control how they respond, but you can control your side of it. And the other thing is, when we respond with honesty and vulnerability, one, they can be invited into that space. And two, you can achieve the win sooner, which the ultimate win of any of this is what?
I think the end goal is reconciliation and unity.
Yes.
And so when we talk about no games, I think most people can attest to one of the challenges with dating is trying to figure out what the other person is thinking at any given moment as you're continuing to build a relationship.
Yeah.
That's definitely not something you or anyone really probably enjoys doing as you're trying to date your spouse or continue to build a healthy marriage. And so I couldn't agree more. And when I think back to our early dating days with Danielle, we'll have another video for that, our dating life. But there were no games. And that was one of the many things that set her apart from any other girl I dated previously in our marriage.
Or at the same time when we were just...
Before we defined the relationship.
Before we defined the relationship.
Different approaches to dating for different people.
We learned a lot.
At the end of the day, the cream rises to the top. The Lord separates the wheat from the chaff. And one of the great
we may have to redo this one
was no
sweating
games.
a little bit.
Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, be honest in your approach. Let's talk about the importance of being honest in our approach.
I think, again, starting with the end in mind, if the end and the win is reconciliation and unity, I need to come to the table with a healthy mindset to know I cannot allow a spirit of offense to rest. I may be offended. I may be hurt. I may not even be in the wrong. But you know what? I still have an opportunity to take ownership. I could have probably responded a different way or whatever it is. But in my approach to the situation, in my approach to working towards reconciliation and unity, just to be open, just to be honest. And again, to work towards those two things, reconciliation and unity.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And the importance of the honesty, the more honest you are, the less games you're actually playing, if you think about it.
Yeah. And honest, not with the intent to hurt or harm, but honest.
Yeah.
To share your heart, like where you're at.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, if your feeling is, if something I said hurt your feelings, whatever it may be.
Never happens.
Never happens, but let's just say it did. At the end of the day, in most cases, believing the best,
Yep.
it wasn't intended, right? There are all kinds of other contributing factors that could go into whatever the offense was. And so we have a very important decision to make. Am I going to be honest? Am I going to address the issue and not play any games so we can move on and unify?
Fine is not a good response.
No.
Are you okay? I'm fine. No, you're not.
Yeah, absolutely. And when they say,
ain't nobody got time for that.
I'm good, words have to line up with actions, facial expressions, eyebrows.
They just do what they want. I don't know what to
If you
do.
want to take money, play poker. Eyebrows just all over the place.
Okay.
Very clear picture of whether or not we're.
I literally can't even feel them. I don't even know.
Okay. All right. So along with that, though, I would say one of the third takeaways is being, is not punishing the other person for their honesty.
Yeah, that's
Help me
good.
package that.
So again, what I just mentioned with the spirit of offense, you've got to just know that there's always an enemy within our midst. Like my husband is not my enemy and I am not his enemy, regardless of things that are said, things that happen. He is not my enemy and I am not his. And so if we can come together to agree that we have a common enemy, which is the devil, and there is always an element of division and strife that is wanting to linger to divide us, to separate us, to distract us, and to encourage us to go off course. Because if we can pin each other as the enemy, if we can be divided in our house, if we can be offended at each other, then we are not showing up as the team that God has called us to be. And we are not able to step into our purpose and to our calling and to even the needs of that moment of that season that we need to be. So if he has been honest with me about something, I need to surrender that spirit of offense. And I get an opportunity then to lean in. And it's then my responsibility to not punish him for being honest.
Absolutely. Our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the powers and principalities of this dark world. So if you think there's one thing the devil would like to do, it's divide a marriage. Like Danielle said, there are opportunities and pitfalls in every day that we as a couple have to navigate.
All day long.
There are minefields. You have to learn how to navigate the minefields, and we have to learn how to navigate the minefields that are set by the enemy every day. And so knowing that he's out to kill, steal, and destroy, he would love to kill, steal, and destroy your marriage. Mm-hmm. We know that. So the sooner we can resolve the conflict by not playing games, by being honest, the better. Because guess what else is at stake? The next generation. Because our 4 kids are watching us to see what right looks like. And if they see us constantly at each other's throat because we're arguing, now they think that's the right answer. If they see us resolving conflict or intense fellowship quickly, they know then that there's a healthy way to discuss things. Now, we don't really argue in front of our kids. If there is a time we have intense fellowship, which doesn't really happen very often, but we know when we just have something we need to talk about, it's usually away from our kids. We don't have those discussions in front of them, because at the end of the day, you are always being watched by your kids, and the next generation will likely respond to what they see you display.
Yeah. I can't encourage it enough of just refusing to allow a spirit of offense to rest. Refusing. These are just the boundaries. They go back to personal boundaries and decision. It's beautiful because this is a tool that you can start making today, like a decision, a boundary that you can do today, an essential tool to say, no games. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to be offended. I just am always blessed by you.
It could be.
Stop.
It could be NGTN. No good turtleneck. No. Okay. All right. So what's our takeaway?
I don't even know.
All right. The end goal is reconciliation and unity at all times. So at all costs, how do I get to yes? I try to get back to unity, and I'm trying to reconcile whatever it is to make sure the sun does not go down on our anger, and then we wake up tomorrow even more angry and upset than we were the night before.
And let
because
it
we didn't resolve
fester.
it.
Yeah.
No, solve it now. Solve it as soon as you are both in a good place to talk about it and resolve it quickly so you can move on and continue to build on the steps that you've taken for a healthy marriage.
Yeah. Which makes me excited for our next tip that we're going to share, because it is a great piggyback off of this one. So, well, thanks for joining us for tip number 4. Be honest, no games.
GBH.